I just bought what might be the worst Nissan Patrol in Australia. Everyone's been trying to tell me that I've been ripped off, and I think they're right.
Is that literally the one you got? That looks like garbage. How much did you pay for it?
$8 grand. Where's the f***ing key lock? There's wiring everywhere. The pedal's loose. Rust everywhere. Where the f*** is my window? But here's the thing, I don't care how bad it is because this thing was already engine swapped with a Barra. So today we're gonna polish this turd so that we can sneak it into a supercar event in less than 5 days. Now we had a budget of 10 grand to do this build and well, we've already gone just a little bit over. And we still haven't gotten to the good stuff yet. Either way, by the end of this video, we're not just gonna be polishing a turd, we're gonna be wrapping it in a completely different color. We've also got a fresh set of wheels that we're gonna pick up, the exact ones that you guys voted for over on my Instagram. But before we jump into the big upgrades, let me catch you up on where some of the budget's gone since the last video. Because believe it or not, this thing has improved a bit. I pulled out all the extra parts that the previous owner had generously left us to see if there was anything that we could use, only to find out that none of it was any good. That left us 2 banged up doors and some rock sliders, half of the interior including a sticker bomb dash, the old crusty rear seats, a few mystery components that probably don't belong to this car, and this ugly little bastard. So without hesitation, I bug bombed the fuck out of the cabin and spent my first day of the build running around to a few different wreckers trying to hunt down parts that we desperately needed. You'd think finding patrol bits would be easy, but no. Every wrecker I went to looked like a scene straight out of Mad Max. First up, the front guard. This thing had a massive dent in the front. I was actually happy to leave the dent as it gives it a bit of character, but it brought on some surface rust, which meant the wrap wasn't going to stick to it. So I looked everywhere for a clean one, but everything I found was either rusty, dented, or had a snorkel hole big enough to fit my arm through it. So I said, screw it, we'll work with what we've got. We pulled the front of the Patrol apart and did our best to pull it back into shape, filed off some of the rust, slapped on some bog, shaped it up, and hit it with a bit of primer so the wrap will actually stick to it later on. It's not a professional job, but neither is this build. The headlights were another disaster. One of them didn't work at all, and the other one only turned on when the radiator fans did, which made 0 sense. But honestly, at this point, not much is surprising me. So I ripped them out and chucked in some temporary cheap eBay specials that I had laying around. They're not great, but hey, they actually turn on, which already makes them one of the most reliable parts of this build. Then there was the grille, and same problem like the guard. Every Patrol we looked at, it was either missing or just as cooked as mine. So instead, I figured I'd try give restoring my old one a go. Started it with a quick rinse, soaked it in some heavy duty truck wash, and gave it a good scrub with Mum's kitchen sponge. After leaving it to dry, I then hit it with a very dodgy paint job using some old spray cans I had laying around. Bit of a pro tip, if you want to avoid headaches and a shitty finish, I would suggest just buying new paint. It's not perfect, but honestly, it looks a hell of a lot better than before. And it'll do the job for now until I can track down a shiny chrome grille. And finally, while at the wreckers, I did manage to score some seatbelt clips and a pair of seat rails that actually moved. My old ones were so rusted that they were basically welded in place, and the seatbelts didn't even clip in, which is, you know, kind of important. So this leads me to the seats. The guys over at Ricky saw what we were doing and reached out and hooked us up with their beautiful aftermarket street seats. After yanking out the factory ones and cleaning up the crime scene underneath, we replaced the rails, and then I had to do some backyard fabrication to make the salvage Patrol mounts line up. But once these things were in, man, it already made a huge difference to the interior. And honestly, I think they might just be a little bit too nice for the car. And that's where we're at, slowly bringing this thing back from the dead, one dodgy fix at a time. But now that the basics are sorted, it's time to move on to the fun stuff. And trust me, this is where things start to look a whole lot different. So that brings me here to Custom Wraps and Tinting here in Malaga, WA, where the boys have already started pulling the Patrol apart to get her ready for Vinyl Frog's candy metallic neon green. That same offensively green vinyl that we've got on my other cars, Lumstick and Drift Bin. This time last year, the guys helped us to get Lumstick wrapped in just a few days so we could sneak it into last year's bust down. But this time, instead of a relatively clean Holden Ute, we've now got a bunky, rusty Nissan Patrol and half the amount of time to do it. All right, before we continue, I want to quickly show you guys something. So I think we can all agree that I've just bought a lemon, but has my mate Blake just topped me? He recently just picked up this BMW M140i tuned to just over 300 kilowatts, and it's done over 200,000 kilometers. Was it a risky purchase? purchase? Well, let's find out. This is Carly, an OBD2 scanner that lets you run workshop level checks, read and clear fault codes, see live data, and on some cars, even unlock some hidden features that they didn't give you from factory. You just plug it in and connect it to your phone using Bluetooth. So now that we're all connected through the app, we're gonna run a quick diagnostic check to see what nasty problems are hiding in this before we unlock some cool hidden features. This is not looking good. So now that the scan's done, we've found 59 issues. Looks like the car's health status is very bad. Now, this all may seem very overwhelming at first for those of you who have a Lemon, but thankfully, Carly's Smart Mechanic will actually go through and explain some of the problems and tell us how severe things are. So in this case, the first problem, it says react immediately. Had he had the scanner with him when buying the car, he probably could have talked it down a little bit more. So we're just gonna go ahead and make this a later Blake problem and clear all of the issues. So now that all that's swept under the rug, we're gonna move on to finding some cool hidden features that this car's got. And I see there's a few different things we can have a play around with. Something that's caught my eye, there's an active sound design menu here that we're gonna have a look at. You know, there's M2, M3, M4, Rolls-Royce V12, 2019 Toyota Supra. Let's try that. So now that that's all loaded up, this should sound like a Supra from the inside. Let's go grab Blake and see if he notices anything different. All right, just give it a little bit up this road.
Sounds a bit different. Find any car when you scan it?
Oh, no. Car's completely fine, mate. It's all good. Now, I like to keep one of these Carly scanners in my camera bag so that I'm able to diagnose whatever problem my cars throw at me while we're out on the go. If you want to save yourself a ton of headaches and 15% off, use code Spotto and grab yourself a Carly to see what your car is hiding. I wish I could have ran this thing on the patrol to see how many engine lights we would have had, but I can't even find the OBD2 port if it actually even has one. But thank you, Carly, for making this video possible and unlocking some cool features on my mate's M140i. Go check him out, links in the description. Now, you might be wondering why I don't just get it all resprayed. Well, there's a few advantages to vinyl. First reason, paint costs money, like real money. A half-decent paint job on this thing would almost cost me just as much as the actual car. Vinyl in the last couple of years has come a long way from both look and durability. I mean, look at Lumpstick. The wrap still looks great. Wrapping is also a whole lot faster. I don't have to wait for the paint to dry, and if I ever decide to change the color, I can just peel it off like a giant green banana. Oh, and I also don't trust this thing enough to invest in a respray because I feel like the minute I spend big money on it, the gearbox is just going to explode out of spite or something, you know? So the boys have just started to pull this thing apart, and the more they take off, the more of a story is revealed. I mean, look at this. I can now see why the rear tail lights don't work, because there was nothing ever plugged into them. There seems to be cryptic messages all around the car explaining what things used to do and I guess should be doing. I mean, I'm no English expert, but I think that says Roject Heart Start. I don't know what that even means. You know, I'm really starting to worry about how the boys are actually going to get the wrap to stick to this because everything just seems to be rusted. Like they've taken the trim off the doors and just look at this. They've also just pointed out that the bonnet doesn't sit flush and it's dented in like someone sat on it. And there's all this rust that started developing around the edges there. So they're gonna have to try pop that up so it doesn't rub on the wrap. We can also see here where it's pinched at the door. So we're gonna have to try and push the panels forward and get things lined up just a little bit better. To try and be efficient with time, I'm thinking we're gonna pull the bull bar off, pull off the old crusty spotties, give the bull bar a bit of a respray. And I'm thinking we might do the same to the rear bar here because look at this. It's all covered in surface rust. We can't be pulling up to a supercar event like this. So we're gonna have to fix that as well. Now, I had a chat with the boys and we come to the decision that we will not be driving this to the event because we don't think it's very roadworthy at all. And I don't think the police are gonna think much the same either. So we're gonna do the responsible thing and tow it there. And then later on, I'll focus on getting this thing more roadworthy with proper functioning tail lights and all the other bits and pieces. But for now, we just need to get this thing looking pretty and we just need to sneak it into the bust down next to supercars. Now, I really wanted to run a chrome grille and bar for the event, but with time being against us and a factory chrome bar in good condition costing almost $2,000, I decided that for now, we're just gonna try and get the side steps, front bar, and rear bar looking just a little bit nicer. I started off by getting rid of these old crusty spotlights, prepping the front bar for paint with a quick grind to get rid of some of the rust, rinsed it all down, hit it all with some heavy duty truck wash, gave everything a quick scrub with Mum's kitchen sponge, then let it dry before hitting them all with a texture finish paint. And yes, I learned from my mistakes and actually bought some new rattle cans. These were only 20 bucks each and I grabbed 2 of them. As we finished up while the sun was setting, we were now onto our last day before the event. Guys, it is now Friday, the last day before the event, and the pressure is on. We've just arrived here at the wrap shop, and I've got the freshly painted bars and side steps ready to go. Now, I've been told the wrap is not done yet, which is cutting it just a little bit close. But the boys have had to do a ton of prep work to actually get the wrap to stick to the body, because the paint on this car was obviously no good with all sorts of paint imperfections. Also, you lot have been asking for him, so I'm back here today with cameraman Scrimple. Let's go see where this patrol's at. Lead the way.
It's definitely green.
Bro, man, it never gets old seeing these cars get transformed into bright green monstrosities. So with this one, what we've decided we're gonna do is we're gonna go green on the bottom and then black on the top. Now, because I wasn't able to source any windows, we're basically just gonna be blocking these off with some, I forgot the material, but I'll put the name up here somewhere, which is gonna kind of get us that full blacked out look all around the top. We're still yet to put the flares on and other little bits and pieces back on the car, as well as the entire front. Without the grille and bar, this thing looks a bit,
It looks.
It looks, look at this.
All it does is look at the eyes, man.
So like I mentioned before, obviously the wrap isn't done, but really there's not much that they need to do. But if you look at all of this, they've actually had to go through and sand down a majority of the panels just so that we can get the vinyl to stick to the body, because man, the paint work before was no good. So other than these two panels in the bonnet and the rest of this top half, we really don't have that much more to do. Block out the two window holes, put the front and rear bar on, the side steps, the flares, tail lights, the handle, the door lock, indicator, all the little stuff. There's not a whole lot left that needs to be done. So in the meantime, while the guys are finishing the wrap up, we're gonna go head over to Aussie Tyres and pick up some new wheels. So we're here at the Aussie Tyres store here in Welshpool, WA, and man, walking into this place never gets old. The attention to detail in these stores is always insane. As you guys know, I love that polished silver look against the green vinyl, so it had to be torn between these two styles, the 17-inch Cadets or the 17-inch Hard Rocks. So I put it out to vote on Instagram and let you guys decide for me, and it came pretty close, but the Cadets won. So this is what we're gonna be going with. We're gonna do a little unboxing here of our new wheels. Woo! Mate, you ready for this? Woo! Mate, look at that. The polished silver finish is going to look insane on the green, man. Just a little bit of an upgrade from the crusty ones that are on there at the moment. I'm so keen, I'm so keen. Now, in order to get this thing looking like less of a pavement princess, I've opted to upgrade to these massive 35-inch monster mud tires, so that when we do eventually go off-road, we're gonna be more than ready for it. And what's cool about these is you've got white on one side, and then black on the other. So if we didn't want to do the tyre lettering, we just flip them this way. Now, normally the guys would, you know, fit the wheels and tyres onto the car for me, but it's stuck at the wrap shop. So they're going to get the tyres fitted and balanced, and then we'll head back over and see where the wrap's at. Alrighty, it is the morning of the bust down event, and I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is the wheels are on the patrol and they look insane, especially against the green. But the bad news is we're still going. The tow truck is currently out the front right now, and we're supposed to be getting it loaded up to head over to the event, but they've been having some major problems here with the bonnet, with the wrap not sticking. Every time they've gone to lay on the wrap, it's just peeled up paint. The guys here at the wrap shop have literally been here all night working on this thing. So we're finishing up some little other bits and pieces, and then we're gonna give this one last go before we load it onto the truck. But how insane does this look? And how good do those wheels look? A massive thanks to Aussie Tyres and the boys over at the Welshpool store for helping us out with these. If you're looking for a new set of wheels or some tyres, you know exactly where to go. I'm pretty sure there's a store in every state, and there's a lot of them, so go check them out. I'll put a link to the range of wheels and tyres in the description, so make sure you go check them out. So since you've last seen it, we've obviously fitted up the new wheels and tyres. The boys have gone and wrapped the Nissan green. I fit up the eBay special tail lights that I got, which actually look really good. The new bar that we've painted is all fit on. These lights that I need to replace, I've just double side taped on because the bolts rusted out, but that's a later me problem. We fitted the side skirts so the wheels don't poke out. We've got the new repainted bar fitted up with my professionally painted front grille. The guys have cut out and fitted some Aluka bond here on the rear to block out the crusty window and the weird wooden board that we used to have.
Found a problem.
It looks like the wheel we've fitted doesn't quite clear the door, but that's fine. We don't need to open it right now. But if we have a look here behind my beautiful Ricky seats, we've basically turned this thing into a panel van. 100% tint, mate. I like that. I like it a lot. Oh, and you may have also noticed here on the front, we have decided to name it the Barra, as in Barra Patrol, you know, like Barra. You know, kind of sounds like barrel. It's a good name, right? Yeah? Yeah, good, yeah, good. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Barra. We also got it in the new Japanese plates because they were actually a few $100 cheaper, and I really like the look of it. And you know, being a Nissan, it's basically a JDM build, right? It's JDM, it's a Japanese car. But just to be safe for the event today, I don't think we're gonna chuck them on the card, just in the off chance someone tries to pinch them, because it's gonna be a very busy event, and I don't wanna have to repay for these. These were $495, officially being the last item that we've purchased for this build, putting us this far into the red. Grand total for this build of whatever is on the screen here. Anyway, we're gonna get finished up here. We're gonna get the bonnet wrapped and we're gonna load it onto the tow truck because we're supposed to be at the event about 20 minutes ago. So we're gonna get a crack on and we'll see you guys very soon at the bust down. Already running seriously late to the event, the team only had one last chance to get the bonnet wrapped. The dodgy paint fought back every step of the way, peeling up every time they tried to apply the wrap. But somehow, on the final attempt, they just pulled it off. They got it sticking enough to look half decent so that we could load it straight onto the tow truck as we raced against the clock to make it to the gates before they shut. They said you can't polish a turd, but we sure as shit managed to wrap one bright green. It's good from far, but far from good. But I still could not be happier with this transformation. From the last minute touch-ups to the brand new wheels from Aussie Tyres, this thing looks like a completely different car. Now there's still plenty more to come, from sorting out the rest of the suspension to making the most of the Barra swap and pushing out some serious power with a little bit of boost. But for now, all that mattered was sneaking in this freshly wrapped bucket into the bust down event. Coming up next, can we sneak this thing into a supercar event even though we rocked up after the gates have shut? Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, and we'll see you in the next one.